Good morning, everyone. Today is Thursday, December 8th. Can hardly believe it's December already, but here we go towards the end of the year. I want to wish all of the Medicare producers a happy end to the AEP. That ended yesterday, probably for many of you around midnight. So not sure how many Medicare producers I have on the line, but for those of you that survived, congratulations, and I'm sure you are thrilled that it is now the 8th of December. Next bullet point, CAP Blue Cross paper rates for individual are now on our website. I apologize, they were delayed from last week, so many of you that sat in to our webinar or on our webinar last week went to our website and couldn't find the individual rates. They are now on there. So again, my apologies for that. We've been getting a lot of questions on the individual auto enrollment and what it means for your individual clients. And carriers are auto enrolling both on and off marketplace, but the on marketplace seems to be the biggest issue. And I don't think it's going to end well, folks, because essentially what CMS is doing is auto mapping folks to a plan with the same carrier or with another carrier, and actually creating a 2017 application. So it's confusing when people log in, because they could very well have a 16 application that they update, but then the 17 application is already out there. The marketplace does say that for the auto enrollers, they do need to log in by the 15th of December and update their income and make their selections, because essentially a lot of people out there are going to have two plans, two bills, and I just don't know how these carriers are going to coordinate coverage and termination of coverage for the auto enrolls. Obviously, if you don't pay your premium, you're not going to have a plan, but I just think it's going to be a mess. So on that note, I again encourage anyone that has the FFM cases out there, and most of them are being auto-enrolled, to have conversations with your clients, make sure that they know that they have to update that income by the 15th. They can certainly go in after the fact, but it will be for after a 1/1 effective date that change would take place. So more messes to clean up for no money, right? So moving on, more great news, and I say that tongue-in-cheek. Geisinger just announced that the Lehigh Valley Physician Hospital Organization, LVPHO, will no longer participate in the Geisinger Marketplace HMO or POS plans, and that starts January 1st of 2017. So for any of you that this affects on their individual and group clients, or Medicare for that matter, just be mindful of that and make sure that they're in a plan and understand the limitations or restrictions in the network. The next bullet point is kind of interesting, and I really kind of debated if I should even mention it, but you know, my job is to give you information, and that's what I'm going to do. As many of you know that have been involved in the individual market, back in 2014, the administration put a squash on, pardon me, employers offering reimbursement for individual health premiums through a health reimbursement arrangement. That prohibition has actually been lifted for plans starting 1/1 of 17. Now, again, I hesitated to mention it, and I think it's kind of ironic that group rates are now less expensive than individual rates, and this is the time they decide to give employers a break by allowing this again. So that's the irony that I see in that. But I also think, too, that I don't know if we should be part of the demise of the small group business or not. So again, I'm offering you this information. There is information in my newsletter today about it and what it actually means. And if you have additional questions, please give me a call. But again, I did want to at least relay that information, that it's back on the table for the HRA employer reimbursement for individual health premiums for plans that start 1/1/17 and beyond. All right, enough said on that. Again, watch for groups that dissolved previously to be re-engaged with group. We are seeing it every single day for a 1/1. We see these groups that dissolved that now have a better financial advantage by moving to back to group, and that's what they're doing. So I encourage you to, when you are quoting individuals within a group, that you also look at the group health programs, and we can help you with that and walk you through all the forms you would need. But again, be mindful of that. And that brings us up to the open forum. We're going to open it up for questions. While you're typing in the questions or raising your hand, I just want you to know that I thank you so much for a great 2016. I know we're not at the end yet, but I just think it can't be said enough, and hopefully you won't get sick of me saying it, but I truly appreciate everyone choosing to do business with URL, tuning in every week, you know, asking your questions, making me better and a better resource for my agent partners, and again, for the business and partnership that you choose to do with URL. So let's keep it going until the end of the year, and have a lot of exciting things coming up for 2017. So while you're typing in the questions again, just next week, know that we will be back here at 9:30, December 15th, for our weekly webinars. All right, looks like some questions today. Bill says, yes, and this is true. Your CBC client could be mapped to a Geisinger plan, and you'll lose the renewal. Exactly. So be mindful of that. You know, when we're fighting for every stinking penny, and it is pennies, you know, it just gets my goat when you're doing everything that you need to do, and you still lose the case. So good point, Bill, and thank you. Dave says, CMS is auto-mapping, but it's not showing the much higher tax credits for 17. I'm seeing many of these tax credits doubling. Absolutely, Dave, that's a great point. When CMS maps, they're mapping with a subsidy based on 16 income, not estimated 17. So if nothing else, your clients need to go in there by the 15th and update that financial information so they get the tax credits that are due to them if warranted. Because as Dave mentioned, they're large this year, the tax credits. Elise wanted me to mention that the Capital Blue Cross group, they're being very much sticklers on the paperwork, and they want everyone to know, and we're scrubbing them, but want everyone to know that that paperwork needs to be absolutely perfect. And if we seem to be pushing back and being a little bit particular, it's because we want the groups to go through, and Capital could deny the group if the paperwork is not filled out correctly and time passes that they're no longer eligible for the effective date. So just be mindful of that. The Highmark programs for Central, Western, and East, they are now taking family-only groups. However, they must all show on the most recent UC2. Payroll is not acceptable. So again, more opportunities opened up for those husband-wife groups to write them as a two-person group, as long as the tax documents support that. They have to be on the UC2. Sharon says, are Geisinger PPO plans still par with LVPHO? Yes. The blast did not mention anything other than the HMOs and the POSs, Sharon. Nate says, do you know if CBC individual commissions will be paid if an existing client stays with Capital but moves from on-marketplace to off-marketplace or vice versa? Yes, Nate. Capital considers renewals to be any policy that is still active and commission paying as of 12/31/16, rewriting on any Capital Blue Cross plan for a 1/1/17 effective date. So even if they go on, off, or off, on, it's still considered a renewal if they're commission paying and active as of 12/31 and rewrite for 1/1. Dave says, why are the tax credits doubled? Is this an Obamacare trick to make Obamacare look better but put us more into debt? Well, Dave, I can't argue your point, but keep in mind that the subsidies are based on the second lowest cost silver plan in the area, and carriers were very savvy about making sure that their second lowest cost silver plans were actually pretty expensive. And that's why you see the subsidies increasing so much. Obviously, all of the pricing for Pennsylvania has increased quite a bit, but for those that are subsidized and heavily subsidized, they're going to see a marked increase in the available subsidy. But goodness knows they need it when premiums rose about 53%. So that's it. That looks like all of the questions for today. I appreciate everyone joining in. Again, please join us next week on the 15th at 9:30. We'll have some more information to share, and keep tuning in, because once the new administration takes place or gets into office, I just have a feeling that there's going to be a lot of changes. Some important, some not so important to our daily work here, but definitely things that you need to be aware of. So for now, I wish you all a great day and a great balance of the week and a wonderful weekend. Thanks for joining in. Bye-bye.